Welcome back to the channel here, and today we are heading to and going for a ride in Edmonton, Alberta, and we're going to be looking at 5 amazing fantasy dream homes. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome to another edition of Fantasy Dream Homes, and today we are heading to Edmonton, the city of Edmonton, and the big province of Alberta, Canada. And before we go any further, I want you to know, if you don't want to listen to the city description and me talking about Edmonton, no problem. If you look down at your timeline, you'll notice it is segmented into sections, and each one, if you take your mouse or your finger and hover over, you will see that you'll see one is an introduction into about the city and where we're going, and then each house that follows, house 1, house 2, house 3, they're all going to be listed there, so you can jump right ahead to the description. But in the meantime, let's get our magic carpet and head it into Edmonton in the province of Alberta. And Alberta is huge. We're just going to get in a little closer. We want to see that definition of, there we go. So absolutely enormous. And here's my question, burning question. How did this large city, and when I say large city, how large are we talking about? Well, it is the largest city in North America and the northernmost city with over 1.3 million people. How does a 1 million plus city get out in the middle of nowhere? Is it really in the middle of nowhere? Let's go in close. Let's see what's around it. See any large cities around it? No. Let's go in closer. What is around it? Farmlands. Farmland. Wheat being the biggest product, I'm sure a lot of these are wheat fields, wheat farms. It's not even close in Alberta. I was looking at the crop statistics, and wheat is by far the biggest crop in the province of Alberta. Okay, let's back out. Well, where's the next closest city? Way down here, Calgary. How far away is that? Let's take our measuring tool. So we're in Canada. We're going to describe it in kilometers. So let's take our measuring tool. And this is just an approximation. So from downtown city center Edmonton, not to downtown Calgary, just to the outskirts, okay? We're looking at about 265 kilometers, or put that in miles, about 100, we'll call it 150 miles. That's a lot. That is a big distance. How did this big city get out in the middle of basically nowhere? It's out in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of speculation, like it was Canadian Pacific Railway, and there was an expansion up north to Edmonton, and that brought more settlers and more entrepreneurs and things like that. And there's other speculation of the cost of living, the cheap land, the excellent quality soil for wheat farmers or whatever. But I'm not sure any of those really contribute to having such a big city so far up north in the middle of nowhere. That's my burning question about Edmonton. How did this big city get there? And if you want to see how big, let me just show you a little bit of this video here. I mean, this is a big city. It's a big city in the middle of nowhere. And if you want to do some touring, I'd say it's worth exploring. You can go to exploreedmonton.com. That's the tourism site. We will be featuring that, as always, in our show notes. Here's another article you may want to read: 25 best things to do in Edmonton, Canada. And I was scrolling through the list here, and, they look interesting, definitely. And then it came to this, and I thought, whoa, that is very unusual shape. It's the Art Gallery of Edmonton. So I wanted to look at that picture of this thing. This thing is amazing. Who's the architect? Because it reminds me strangely of the Guggenheim in New York. But so I came here to this website, and it's called youraga.ca. So it's Your Art Gallery of Alberta. Don't you love that? It belongs to the citizens. Scroll down, and then we see the architect's name is Randall Stout. Randall Stout, the architect chosen to design the AJA building, took inspiration from the city's unique northern environment and urban grid. Stout juxtaposed angular windows against a winding 190-meter steel ribbon that referenced the forms of the North Saskatchewan River, which flows through Edmonton, and the Aurora Borealis. So, yeah, I would love to see this, and it's absolutely beautiful on the inside. And if anybody wants me to see it, please send a first-class airline ticket along with first-class hotel accommodations to me. I'll be down for it. Okay, so let's get on to our real estate. The real estate site we're going to be using today, and again, we always put this in the show notes, is realtor.ca. Our first home, boom, is going for almost 5 million Canadian dollars. It's 5 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, and it's sitting on 890 square meters of land built in the year 2015. Let's take our virtual tour of our first Edmonton home. right, our second home is going for 5.2 million Canadian dollars, 3 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and it is sitting on almost 2.6 acres of land, built in the year 2009. Let's take a virtual tour. And our next home is going for almost 6 million Canadian dollars, 7 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms. It is sitting on almost a half an acre of land and built in the year 2006. Let's take a virtual tour of this next fantasy dream home. All right, the next home is going for almost 6.5 million Canadian dollars, 6 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. It is unknown land size, built in the year 2005. Let's take a virtual tour. Okay, and our final fantasy dream home of the day is going for almost 7 million Canadian dollars. It's 5 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms. It is sitting on 80 acres of land, big chunk of land, built in the year 2016. Let's take a virtual tour of our final fantasy dream home of the day. Okay, so that wraps up another edition of Fantasy Dream Homes. And we want to ask you to become an active member by, like, for example, letting us know which houses you liked in the video, which one, maybe you hated one of the houses too. Put it in the comments. We'd love to read it. And the other thing we want you to know is we're trying to build a subscriber base, so we would love it if you would click the subscribe button. There's a bell right next to it. When you do subscribe, click that little bell and you'll be notified every time we come out with another video. In the meantime, during this pandemic, we want you to stay safe out there and be careful. And we're thinking good thoughts about you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.